Hello again. Today is German knotted and whipped, and I am trying not to draw my fabric anymore. I'm using the sticky water soluble paper stabilizer, and I wanted to show you a little trick that I figured out in my last video. I have a hard time getting this separated from the backing, but I discovered that if you take your needle, and all of you experienced people probably already know this, and I'm just now figuring it out. You can kind of scoop it up and it will come right off. So the German knotted is not in my A to Z embroidery of stitches. Get the glare off. But I found it on the Practical Embroidery Online School website, and I've drawn all of these lines because on their picture, their example, they show a skinny little one, a very tall one, and a short, wide-legged one. The picture on the website has all of them on here, and that's not the part that printed for me, so I just drew it on there myself. So I'm going to do a skinny little one, fat short one, and tall, a tall one. That's my plan. My eyeballs, and we're going to start with the skinny little one. It says make 2 parallel lines, start at the left top corner, make a blanket stitch. So right here, oops, can't get where I want to start. There we go. So I make a blanket stitch. I'm going to make a little one. That is the theme. That's not where it goes. It goes down here. That is the theme of the blanket stitch for me. Look at these teeny tiny honeycombs and these teeny tiny detached and detached twisted and teeny tiny. I don't know. That's just, I'm just going to embrace it. It's teeny tiny craft work, I guess. I don't know. In the videos that I am following, Create and Craft with Christine, she used a big fat chunky yarn like that. Add one more blanket stitch close to the previous one. So this is the little skinny guy. So we're going to go right here and pop up right here. A little farther than I want, but we're going to go with it. I have my 2 little stacked up blank stitches, and pass the needle under both stitches from right to left. I'm going to go backwards because it's easier. And tighten up the loop. Oh, you get a little knot. I should have gone a little bit farther apart right there, I think. So on the next one, we will. We're going to scoot over here. Oh, I love learning. Part of me wants to be perfect right out the gate. The very first thing I do, oh, perfect. But part of me is really enjoying the process and enjoying not being perfect. Enjoying the learning and enjoying all of it. My husband likes to come over and look at my work and say, oh my gosh, you're getting so much better. Maybe I am. Maybe I am too close to my work to see that I'm getting so much better, because I am looking at it far more often than he is. I was stitching some letters on another stitch that I'll be doing, because I don't stitch the letters on camera. The videos, most of them tend to be long enough as it is. You don't need to watch me backstitch for 3 years while I get all my words on. I know that when Christine does hers, she only does the main word, the blanket. I don't know how long she's been doing embroidery. I started in January, so I figure the more time I spend with the needle in my hand, the better off I am. And so And also, the more consistent I'll become, and 10,000 hours, or maybe it's 10,000 stitches. I don't know. It's just good practice, in my opinion, to just go ahead and do all of the words. And also, I like the way it looks with all the words. And because I'm not an embroiderer, well, I guess I am an embroiderer. That's not correct. Because I am still a beginning embroiderer, I don't know all the names of the stitches that well, and I'm concerned that I'll put my A to Z book together, and by the time I get to A or get to Z, I'll have forgotten what all these stitches are called. So for me, better to just go ahead and stitch the words on. But I was stitching the words on the other day for, I don't know, what was I doing? Oh, the bullion knot. And I was laughing at how big these words are and consistent, and then all down here, all of a sudden, I got really tiny. Or wonky. They kind of, I don't know. I'm okay with it. It made me laugh. But, again, practice, practice, practice. That one I wrote on the fabric. That was when I decided I would not be writing on fabric anymore. I had already written on the next one, though, so the next one is also written on, but it's more of an Aida type cloth, and so it's a different experience. Ooh, mosquito in my house, or a fruit fly or something. Goodness, buzzed a my ear. And on that plain fabric, it was really hard to have consistent lines and consistent stitches. Another reason why I really like this sticky water-soluble stuff is it has little dots in it, and so you can actually it's almost like having an Aida style fabric, even though you don't. So I really like that. Okay, so here is my skinny dude, just kind of working his way along here. I'm going to pause my video for a minute and finish my skinny dude. I'm getting off my line a little bit there. And then I'll come back and we'll do the fatter guy. Alright, I have finished my little skinny guy, and I'm going to do my short little fat guy next. But I have to tell you something funny. While I was stitching this, I was listening to Sarah Humphrey's channel, and she was doing her Finish It Fridays. And I was right about here, and I realized that when I went under to tie the little knot at the top, I had split the leg, and I only went under 2, and there was 1 left. In the process of unstitching the next blanket stitch so I could go back and fix it, she says that she wanted to remind everybody that we should not aim for perfection. We should aim for the best that we can do. And I was laughing because I was in the process of pulling out a stitch. It just made me giggle. I will say this. In that situation, the best that I could do was to fix my stitch. It wasn't about perfection. It's still just about learning. And as she says, you'll never learn if you just rip your stitches out and rip your stitches out. And I agree, which is why we have things like this, where it's really tight right here and looser up here, or this random skinny little thing. But I also think that sometimes you do have to frog it and fix it. I think that's also learning. At least it is for me, frogging and fixing. Okay, wide, far apart legs, maybe too wide. We'll see. And no, nice little knot, except for everybody is entirely too loose, I think. So maybe I can tighten them up a little, tiny bit. Maybe not. Oops, I loosened up the wrong part, I think. That's better. That's better. That's better. Okay. That's going to be what it is going to be. I'm going to leave it alone now. So, big, fat, wide legs. He probably should have been a little bit taller than he is to really get the full effect. But, you know, the theme of this one is teeny tiny. So we're going to stick with teeny tiny everything. I am thinking maybe, though, for my tall guy over here, that I might get out some of my wool and do it with wool instead, just for the contrast, just for the experience of it. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But this one will go a lot faster because the stitches are so much farther apart. But after this stitch, I'm going to pause the video and finish going across the line. And then I'll come back, and I can pretty much almost guarantee that I will have my wool out at that point, and we will do the last one in wool. I like that. I like how they're different, but the same. I'll be right back. Okay, I have my skinny and my little fat German knotted, and now I am going to do the tall skinny guy, and I am going to do what I said I was going to do, and I'm going to make it with the wool, because why not? It's mine. Oh, I always want to go right next, and it's not right next, is it? It's probably a little bit farther over than that. We'll go right there. Ooh, I picked something up from my desk. Make him fairly skinny. It might be too skinny. I might not be able to actually see the... no, I think it'll be alright. Under... I seriously overestimated how much length I needed on this, so I will be pulling 40s, which is alright, I suppose. Oops. I pulled that up a little bit too tight, and I puckered my fabric. That's better. I don't want to do that. I didn't want to pucker my fabric. A little bit farther over. Apparently it's hard not to. I think those two are a little bit, the stitches are too close together, I think. So this next one I'm going to go just a wee bit farther apart. See if I like that better. And under. Yeah, I think that's better. I think you can go kind of next to it with the first stitch and then move over with the next one. Let's see. And then a little farther apart. Oops, I snagged it. My needle is a little pokey. Needs to be a little pokey to get through my fabric. I think I could probably fit 2 more in there. And then I'll have to go find instructions for the whipped. I'll go back and watch Christine's video also, because there's no more blanket stitches in my A to Z book, and I don't think, I didn't look in my other books to see if these are in there. I'll have to do that. It's a little bit puckery. That's okay. One more. I have the room for one more. Ooh. And under, whoops, under only that one, not all of them. I'm all twisted up and twist a little bit. And then to finish off, I'm going to go right back down right there. Ta-da! There's my German knotted. Very nice. Alright, I am going to go figure out how to do a whipped blanket stitch. Well, it seemed to be pretty straightforward. So I'm going to do it right across up here. Actually, I think I'll do it down here on this black line. I think I might do another one on the gray though, because I was thinking that it would be fun to, I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Yeah, I'm going to go halfway. It would be fun to put beads on the whipped part. So I might go upstairs and get some beads to add to my whipped blanket stitch. I might not. I don't know. We'll see how I feel about it when I get done. Is that even kosher? I don't know. I had my house open, and so now it's full of little flying creatures because they are smaller than the holes in the screen door, which is okay, I guess. I don't know. I keep squashing them. When I go to bed later, the blue Zevo light in the kitchen will get them, I hope. Or most of them, anyway. So I'm going to do my little whip stitch, or my blanket stitch across there, and then I'm going to come back and do the whipped part of it. Okay, I have my blanket stitch there. I'm going to come up right next to the end. I'm going to use the same blue that I had. This is pretty straightforward. Again, I feel like I should do it again and put little beads right there. I think that'd be pretty. I might do that. Whoops, super simple stitch. Not if you get tangled up on everything else on your work, probably. Not, but and back down. Ta-da! Very nice. I am going to tie this off and run up and see what I have in my bead world, and then I will come back and do another row of blanket stitch. I'm definitely going to add beads to it. Okay, I have my second row of blanket stitch, and I have to pat my back, brag on myself a little bit, I don't know, something. No lines, and it's pretty straight and even, and I didn't draw on it at all, which is unusual for me. I am going to use this beading needle, which is hopefully going to cooperate with me. I only need to get through the fabric twice, or at least once. I can put it through with a regular needle when I get to the other end. Oops. Excuse me. Drink of water. Try that again. Maybe I can get all three this time. Perhaps. I'm not even going to fiddle with it. My beading needle head is like all squashed up, so rather than fighting with it, I'm just going to do it that way. Okay, I went up to my craft room and I have these beautiful little pearls that I am hoping will just go right where I want them to go. So there is my first little whip. I'm going to fold this so it's closer to me, and then a pearl and a whip. Oh, look at that. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's too cute. Probably not what was intended, but isn't that the joy of crafting, when you can make something your own? Can't really see the blue, but that's okay. The pearl will be my whipped part of my whip rather than the blue. Just get a little hint of blue, but mostly you'll get the little pearl. And it's nice to be doing something with my beads because I have a bazillion beads. I have an antique set of stamp drawers that I am refurbishing and filling with my beads. And it is not full yet, but like the first 8 drawers are full. One of them is needles and pins though, but still. Beads and things like that. So, how nice to get to use them and justify their existence in my world. Not that I have to justify their existence. I have them. It's entirely up to me whether or not I own something. But I'm sure you understand what I mean. Sometimes I think that crafting and hoarding crafts are two entirely different hobbies. I dropped that. Where'd it go? Crocheting and knitting is a completely different hobby from buying yarn. And I'm finding that buying fabric could possibly be an entirely different hobby from using fabric. And beads, same thing. Different hobby when you buy and hoard versus use. Kind of like books. Owning and reading books. Although I do both. So I am a book dragon and a bookworm, which is fun. Oh, that is absolutely adorable. Oh, will you go through there for me? Oh, you will. I don't have to thread my needle again. Will that show up? Probably not. But there is my whipped, and there is my German knotted, and that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.